If you're looking at short-term options, what are the areas you're going to be focusing on?
Well, looking at our roster with the uncertainty with regard to Lennis Kleeza's availability, have not had a great chance to spend a lot of time with him. Today was the first time that our trainers and doctors and sports science director Alex McKechnie had a chance to get his hands on him. We think he's anywhere from a month to 2 months away from having an opportunity to get back on the court and being ready to play basketball. That's, again, not to put a specific timeline on it. It's just to say he's not available to start a camp, and everybody else is. So we've got 9 guys under contract, a 10th that is under contract but not available, and we've got some holes on the roster. So when you look at that 3 spot, you've got James Johnson, basically an open box, and then Lennis Kleeza. We don't have a third point guard right now, and generally I think it's everyone's philosophy to always have a backup third point guard. That's something that coach is very thinks is very important. And then you look at our bigs. I think we've got 4 bigs under contract right now. So you've got to think that we're going to be looking at a guard, a point guard, probably a small forward, and then you've got some bigs to worry about. And that pretty much brings you to 14 names. Keeping some flexibility, maybe you do keep that 15th spot open. Again, I want to know some of the new rules coming out of the CBA. I'm not going to get into some of the specifics of some of the things that have been floated, ideas that have been floated about roster spots, those later roster spots, but we'll just have to see how that plays out.
Brian, there are some tough stretches this season, specifically in January. Does that change what you do from a depth perspective at all?
I'm going to let Coach address this. I actually feel kind of sorry for Dwayne, given that he walks into a situation. He's got a condensed training camp, very limited opportunity not only to teach at the beginning and instill a system, but very few practice opportunities. I think the having a deep roster and having some guys that you can count on, maybe set some guys on the shelf one night, it's going to be something that Coach has to juggle. But why don't you address that?
Well, that's one thing, talking to your point, there's so many games coming up quickly, one trip, back to back to back, that there's no reason why guys are not going to get a lot of playing time. And also in recruiting some of these free agents as a recruiting tool. Hey, look, we may have 3 point guards, but yet and still, you may have an opportunity to come in and play one night, may be yours. So there's going to be a lot of minutes to go around with the minutes. The downside on that is we're not going to have a lot of practice time. And I think with a young team, you need that to instill a new system and new defensive philosophy. We're talking about putting it in the zone, and we can't even go to that part until we get our man-to-man down. So a lot of the games, are sad to say, is going to be some of the, practice. We're going to treat our shoot-arounds as practice sessions, so to get those in. So it's going to be taxing on a roster. But the good thing about it, we have a bunch of players that are going to, get a lot of minutes, and we'll be able to evaluate them and see where they are.
Yeah, I think 17 of our first 26 are on the road, but up until January 31st, I think we played 22 games. There's not a lot of practice time there, so again, utilizing those shoot-arounds as practices is going to be interesting. Is that full tape?
What's that?
Full tape?
Full shoot-around, yeah. Well, some guys have to tape, and the good thing about it, we have a full coaching staff that is going to go out there. We're going to utilize those guys, play some offense, and have the guys guard the coaches defensively. We're going to use every scheme, every drill we can to improve our team concept in shoot-arounds.
You guys are obviously competitive guys. When you're in this situation, there's always a balance between winning games and developing in the longer-term picture. Given the way this season is going to be constructed, given the lack of practice time and all that, does it push it even further towards development and further away from short-term winning games night to night?
Well, Brian, again, he's saying rebuilding. I'm saying building. I'm saying compete, because one thing you don't want to do is get guys say, okay, I got my chance to work on my game. No, we're about building a culture, a competitive culture, building a team concept, a program that can last for the long haul. At the same time, guys are going to get their opportunities to play and earn their minutes and that type of thing. But I like to use the word build more so than go all the way to that other extreme.
I've got to also just add that, we've got a young group, and with that comes enthusiasm. And I don't know if these guys are seeing what I'm seeing, but everybody that's come in the gym has been in fantastic shape. They're raring to go for obvious reasons. Everyone's been delayed. Everyone's been, waiting for this thing to end. But I see guys that view this as an opportunity, young men that are going to take advantage of this. And we were competitive in a lot of games last year. We didn't know how to close games out. You add to that, a focus on defense and some new principles that will be instilled in the system. So I just think, you're going to go out and you're going to see a team that's going to fight every night. And if they don't fight, they're probably not going to be playing. It's going to be a group that we command a lot of. I know Dwayne has been preaching that from the day he got here. And, it's everything that we talk about. Everybody that we contemplate bringing in is going to bring in something that, whether it's leadership, whether it's defensive capability, whether it's just tenacity, energy, everyone's going to have something that they bring to the table, and it's going to be a very competitive environment all year long, not only internally but for the teams that we play.